Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So let us start a lesson, children, in standard 4th English today. And this lesson is a very beautiful story in your English textbook, and it is lesson number 13, and the name of the lesson is Sultan Ghiyasuddin in the Qazi's court. So we are going to learn about a sultan and about his Qazi. Now who's a Qazi? A Qazi is like a judge. Okay, so there is some kind of incident which happens, something happens because of which the sultan means the king, he has to appear before the Qazi or before the judge. And then what happens? Is the judge scared of punishing the sultan, or is the sultan very proud, and does the sultan not want to appear before the judge? So all these things we will see in this beautiful story today, that is Sultan Ghiyasuddin in the Qazi's court. So let us start by understanding that this story happened hundreds of years ago in the eastern province of Bengal. There, that particular land was ruled by a person called Sultan Ghiyasuddin Azam Shah. So Sultan means king. Okay, so this is the place, the eastern province of Bengal, which was ruled by this particular king or by this particular sultan. Now, his capital was a place called Sonargaon. So every country has a capital, every state has a capital. So the capital of India, our country, is what? It is New Delhi. And the capital of our state, Maharashtra, is what? It is Mumbai. Okay, so in the same way, the capital of the sultan's, you can say, kingdom was a place called as Sonargaon. Now what happened was, he was a very good sultan. He ruled wisely and well, and he respected men of learning. Okay, so whoever was learned, whoever was very, you can say, wise, he was always respectful of these people. He also ruled very wisely, and he also had a deep regard for law. That is, he tried to obey as many rules and laws as possible. So he was not a person who would break any law or who would be indisciplined, even though he was the sultan. So he was a sultan, he could do anything he wanted, but he was not like that. Alright, so these were some very good points about our Sultan Ghiyasuddin. Now one day what happened was, while the sultan was practicing with his bow and arrows, he accidentally wounded the only son of a poor widow. So he went out with his soldiers, and he wanted to do some practicing with his bow and his arrow. Alright, and when he just shot an arrow, it suddenly went and hit a poor boy. And this boy was the only son of a poor widow. Now what happened is, this boy got wounded and he started bleeding, blood started coming out of his wound, and the wounded boy did not survive. He did not survive means, see, the arrow has gone and pierced his heart and he died. The sultan could not save him. Now what happens in case something like this happens? If there is an accident or if someone has tried to harm you, what do? You immediately rush to the police station. So in the same way, weeping and wailing, the poor widow went to the Qazi, and she told him what had happened. Now who's the Qazi? The Qazi is a kind of a judge. The Qazi is a kind of a police. Okay, so this lady started crying. Imagine, she was a widow, she did not have a husband, and she was very poor also. So maybe this was the son who was taking care of her, and now when the son is dead, now who will take care of her? So she was weeping, she was wailing, she was crying loudly, and she went and she told the Qazi about what had happened. Now this Qazi, he was an honest and upright man. Upright means he was very stern, he was very strict, he was very honest. Okay, he sent an officer to summon the Sultan to his court. Now, just like the Sultan was very wise and the Sultan ruled well and the Sultan had regard for law, in the same way, his Qazi was also a very honest and upright man. So, he sent a person, he sent an officer, and he said, go and bring the Sultan to my court tomorrow. Now, this officer, poor fellow, he reached the palace. Now, the guards, they stopped him and they inquired. They said, where are you going? You cannot go in like that. The Sultan lives there. What is your work? And they inquired about his business. Now, this Qazi, he told them, he said that he has come to serve summons on the Sultan. Summons means an order, okay, that you are supposed to come to the court. So, when they learned that he had come to serve a summons on the Sultan himself, they were very shocked. And they said, no, nothing doing. What nonsense is this? How can your Qazi call the Sultan to the court? And they refused to let him to go inside the palace. Now, this particular officer, he was in a big confusion, because if he would go back without serving the summons, the Qazi would punish him. Alright, so he had to somehow serve the summons, but they were not allowing him to enter also. So he was confused. So what did he do? He thought, I will have to think about some idea now here to meet the Sultan, because these guards are not allowing me inside. So he thought and he thought. And what did he decide? He thought that without serving the summons, I cannot return. So he thought and he thought. And what did he decide? He decided that he had to find a way of reaching the Sultan somehow. Okay, and what did he do? He began to sound the azan, that is the call for the prayer, loudly just outside the palace. Now remember, azan is a call for prayers. That is when the people hear the azan, they understand that it is time to pray now. Now the time for prayer is fixed. Okay, you cannot pray at any time of the day. So this person, he sounded the azan, and it was not time for the prayer yet. It was not praying a time where people should pray. So the king must have got confused. So when the Sultan heard the loud, untimely call means a wrong call which is made at the wrong time, he was greatly surprised. He said, Arey, who's this person who's doing the azan now? Why is he doing it now? He was greatly surprised. He ordered that the man giving the call should be brought before him immediately. He said, go and bring that man. Who is this man? Who is this person? Why is he giving the call for azan now? Go bring him. And he sent someone to bring this man. Okay. Now the soldiers, they rushed out of the palace gates. They caught the officer, and they took him to the Sultan within moments. So immediately what did they do? They ran out to see who's doing the azan, and they caught hold of him and they brought him before the Sultan. So see, the officer did his work and he did it so wisely. These people were not ready to take him to the Sultan, but now they only took him to the Sultan on their own. So then what happened? When the officer knelt before the Sultan, he was trembling with fear. He was very scared, because if the Sultan gets angry, the Sultan will order that this person should be killed right now. Okay, that time there was no way you could contest it. The Sultan had all the powers. But then he mustered all his courage and he explained why he had given the call for azan. So he told the whole story to the Sultan. Then, with shaking hands, he gave the summons to the Sultan. So see, this is the summons. Okay, now Sultan Ghiyasuddin, he took the summons without making any comment, and he announced that he would appear in the Qazi's court the next day. So this is what happened. Somehow the Sultan got the summons. So in the story, what did we see till now? We saw that the Sultan was practicing with his bow and arrows and he accidentally killed a boy. Now the boy's mother, she started crying and she appeared before the Qazi, and the Qazi also summoned the Sultan to his court. Okay, now let us see what happens ahead in the story. So the courtroom was packed with people. Now everybody was present in the courtroom that day, because everybody wanted to see what is going to happen today. How is the Qazi going to punish the Sultan? And how will the Sultan deal with the Qazi? So the Qazi entered and he took his place on the high seat of honor. So the place where the Qazi sits, or the place where the judge sits, it is a big chair. So the Qazi went there and he sat on that chair. Sultan Ghiyasuddin entered the courtroom. Okay, it was time for the you can say the Qaidi or the culprit to come. So Sultan Ghiyasuddin entered the courtroom. As soon as the Sultan entered, everyone stood up to show respect to the Sultan. But the Qazi did not get up, because why the Qazi was sitting there? He was sitting there to give justice. Okay, he was not sitting as a servant of the Sultan. So he did not get up. But the Sultan also did not show any reaction. He went and stood in the docks and the trial began. Trial means the question answer session began. Okay, now the widow came and she presented her complaint. The Qazi took note of all the evidence and in a grave voice he addressed the Sultan. So the widow came and she started crying and she started saying the same story again. And the Qazi, he addressed the Sultan and he told the Sultan, "You are guilty of causing the death of the only son of this poor widow. According to the law, you must pay a fine for this offense. I order you to do that without delay." So he said, "Immediately, I want you to pay the fine. Okay, I will not give you any other punishment, but you should pay some money to this lady so that she will be able to live her life peacefully." The Sultan also accepted the judgment and he said sorry to the poor widow. So you see, the Sultan was also a very, very proper person. He was a very, very large-hearted person. Okay, he was a very sincere person. He arranged to pay the fine immediately. So immediately he said that this lady should be paid the money which I am supposed to give her. Now the widow was satisfied that the offense was brought home to the offender. She was happy now. Okay, that yes, he committed a mistake and he is punished. So she was happy, and then the case was over. When the case was over, the Qazi got up from his high seat of honor. Respectfully, he bowed to the Sultan and requested him to take his seat. So as soon as the judgment is over, now he was no longer playing the role of a Qazi. So now the Sultan was above him. So he bowed to the Sultan and he requested him to take his seat. So what did the Sultan do? The Sultan, what did he do? He went and he sat, of course, on the seat, and he drew a hidden sword from his robes. That is, inside his clothes, he had hidden a sword. And what did he tell the Qazi? He told the Qazi, "I am happy that you did not waver from your duty." That is, you did not think of not doing your duty. You did your duty very well. You did not hesitate to punish me. Otherwise, I would have beheaded you with this sword. That is, I would have cut off your head with this sword if you would not have done your duty. You punished me, you did your duty. Okay? And what did the Qazi do then? The Qazi then put his hand under the cushion where the Sultan was seated and he brought out a whip. What is a whip? A whip is a chabuk with which you hit people. He said, "Your Majesty, I am happy because you obeyed the law. Otherwise, I would have whipped you in this court." So if you don't obey the law, what do? They whip you, they punish you. He said, "If you would not have agreed, I would have punished you." So they were both very happy and they were both in respect of each other. The Sultan got up and embraced the Qazi and he said, "Thank God, we both did our duty." Okay, so both of them, they did their duty. So you can see, children, from the story, what do you understand? What do you get an idea about? That we are always supposed to do our duty, no matter what happens. But we are always supposed to do our duty. Okay, whether it is your duty towards your parents, whether it is your duty towards your teachers, duty towards yourself. So what duty do we have towards ourselves? We should study well. All right, we should always think about progressing in life. We should think about our health. We should try to keep our body fit. We should try to keep our mind fit. So these are all the duties that we have towards ourselves. What about our parents? We should care for them. We should respect our parents. We should obey our parents. The same thing goes with our teachers also. So wherever you are in life, whichever position you are in life, you should always try to do your duty. So everyone present in the court, they started praising the two great men. So this was a story of Sultan Ghiyasuddin in the Qazi's court. So did you enjoy the story, children? So now let us move on and let us see some exercises from the story. So we have certain meanings that we will see, and then we will go and see some question and answers also. So let us see the meanings now. So what is the meaning of wailing? Okay, so you can also pick up your dictionary, and as I am giving you the meanings here, you can check up in the dictionary yourself to find out the meaning of these words. So wailing means to cry with pain or grief or anger. So the poor lady, the widow, she was crying in grief. Grief means dukh. Why she was dukhi? Because her son was dead. Her only son was dead. And what is the next word that we have? It is upright. So upright means what? Strict. A person who's strict or a person who's honest is called as an upright person. Then you have the word summon. Summon means to order someone to come. Okay, so I will summon you to class, means I will call you to my class. Sometimes if you do something which is not supposed to be done, your principal summons you to the office. Okay, so summon means to order someone to come. Now there is another word which is very close to this word, and the meaning is totally different, and that is summons. So see, when you add an S to summon, the meaning changes completely. So here summons means what? An official notice. So see, summon means something else and summons means something else altogether. Okay, then you have the word fix. So when you are in a fix means what? You are in a difficult situation. You are in a confusing situation. That is the meaning of fix. And then you have docks. Docks means what? It is a place in the court, an enclosed space in a court of law for the accused person. So you know where Sultan Ghiyasuddin was standing in the story? He was standing inside the dock in the court of the Qazi. Okay, so docks is a place where the accused person stands. Accused means what? The person who is, you know, people say that he has done this wrong. That person, the accused person, he stands. Now we come to the next exercise where we will try and answer some questions with yes or no. Only yes or no. Okay. So you have the first one. Did the Sultan want to kill the widow's son? So did the Sultan do it intentionally? Did he want to kill the widow's son and harm him? No. The Sultan did not want to kill the widow's son. Let's look at the next question. Did the officer give the summons to the Sultan? So what did the officer do? Did he give the summons to the Sultan? Yes, he did. So these are a few questions. Now what we will do is try and do the other questions. There are 3 more questions in this yourself. Okay, let us move on to the next question now. So you have give reasons for the following. So let us try to do a few of these questions also here. The others you can try to do it yourself. So that is your assignment or exercise for the day. Now when we talk about assignment, children, let me tell you, I have one more assignment for you to do. And what is that? I want you to watch the video completely, okay? And after you watch the video, I want you to do certain tasks. And what those tasks are, I will explain it to you towards the end of the video. So that will be one more assignment for you today. So let us look at this give reason. So the first one is the Sultan hid a sword in his robe. Why did the Sultan hide a sword in his robe? What is the reason for that? The Sultan hid a sword in his robe because he wanted to behead the Qazi if he hesitated to do his duty. So if the Qazi would have said, I will not do my duty, I cannot punish the Sultan, Baba, how will I punish the Sultan? Then the Sultan would have beheaded the Qazi. Let us look at the next give reason. The Qazi hid a whip under his cushion. So why did the Qazi hide a whip under his cushion? Because The Qazi hid a whip under his cushion because he wanted to whip the Sultan if he disobeyed the law. So if the Sultan would have said, no, no, I am the Sultan, why should I obey you? I can do anything. Then the Qazi would have whipped him. So these are certain give reasons for you children. The remaining, you can try doing it on your own. Okay, you read the lesson, you will be able to get the answers very easily. Now let us come to the last exercise that we have in this particular lesson. That is, we are trying to find out the opposite words of the following words. So let us start. So we have the first word, eastern. What is the opposite of eastern? It is western. East side and west side. Then you have untimely, timely. Untimely means at the wrong time, and timely means at the right time. Then you have appear, disappear. Appear means to see something, and disappear means that thing goes out of your sight. The next one is respect, disrespect. So when you respect someone, you give him a lot of importance, and when you disrespect someone, you treat them with no respect. Okay, you treat them badly, disrespect, which you're not supposed to do with anyone. You should respect everyone. You should disrespect no one. Okay, then you have accepted, rejected. So you accept something means you say, okay, yes, I'm okay with this, I will do this. When you reject something, you say, no, I'm not okay with this, I will not do this. Accepted, rejected. Then you have finally have present and absent. This you already know. When you're present in class means you have gone to school that particular day. When you're absent in class means you have not gone to school on that particular day. Okay children, so this was lesson number 13 from your English book, Sultan Ghiyasuddin in the Qazi's court. And what is the main thing that we learned from this lesson? What is the main moral of the story? Is that we should always be honest, we should always be upright, and we should always do our duties. So that is all for today children. Don't forget to see the video completely and also to do the tasks which I will tell you after watching the lesson. So let me tell you what your tasks are for today. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions. And note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.